The Kothar came at dawn, if you could call it that, on the pale horizon of New Terra 4. The human colony had stood for 40 years, a symbol of peace and expansion. A lush green world with oceans like liquid sapphire and soil so rich you could grow anything. Earth's proudest outpost beyond the Orion Spur. The first orbital flashes looked like storms breaking the atmosphere, but then the sky opened. Metallic rain fell, Kothar dropships descending like steel locusts. Governor Eston tried to raise command. The colony's defense network responded with static. Every satellite was gone. The Kothar didn't ask for surrender. They didn't need to. They swept through the colony with plasma fire and sonic cannons that made buildings crumble like paper. Civilians ran for shelters that collapsed before they reached them. And when the fighting was done, when the fields burned black and rivers boiled red, the Kothar commander walked among the ruins, his armor glinting under a bleeding sun. "This land is ours now," he said, voice cold and mechanical. "The humans built well. They tilled the soil for us." He ordered the bodies buried. Not out of mercy, but to claim the land entirely. Let their corpses enrich the ground they stole. And so they did. Beneath every fertile plain and shattered homestead, human bones became the first layer of Kothar soil. The invaders planted their flag above the mass graves and broadcast their triumph to the galaxy. The humans, the Kothar War Council declared, have finally learned their place. The mockery of Earth across the galactic networks, laughter followed. The Kothar, long rivals of the Terran Republic, called the victory a correction. Other species echoed it, relief that the unpredictable humans, those strange primates from a forgotten corner of the spiral arm, had finally been humbled. "Earth will mourn," said the Solari emissary, "but they will not retaliate. Their history shows guilt, not wrath." For weeks, footage of the attack spread. The burning forests, the slaughtered colonists, the raised Kothar banners. It became entertainment, a spectacle of dominance. On Kothar Prime, the soldiers paraded through their cities, dragging captured human settlers behind them. The Kothar chancellor spoke to cheering crowds beneath the three suns. "Their colonies will be our farms, their ships will be our tools, and their defiance, a myth we bury with them." No message came from Earth, no fleet, no envoy, no transmission. The silence was interpreted as fear. "See?" the Kothar commanders said. "They bark, but they never bite." The Galactic Council convened. Sanctions against Kothar were proposed and dismissed. No one wanted to challenge them. After all, the humans were quiet, perhaps too quiet. The storm before Sound 40 days passed. On the 41st, every Kothar outpost along the human border went dark. No signals, no distress calls, nothing. Then came the whispers. Merchant ships crossing neutral space found debris, twisted hulls drifting without power. Entire Kothar crews vaporized, their ships reduced to glassed fragments. One trader swore she saw something, a shape the size of a continent, moving through the void without lights, silent, vast, predatory. A human dreadnought. She was laughed off. Humanity didn't have ships that large. The Terran fleet had been small, defensive, scattered. That was the understanding. That was what everyone believed, until the human transmission arrived. Every major hub in the galaxy received it simultaneously. No encryption, no preamble, just one message in the universal channel. "You buried us in our own soil. Now you will feed it." The transmission ended with a series of coordinates: Kothar Prime, Kothar Secundus, and every world they had colonized in the last century. No one knew what it meant, until the first sun went dark. Earth awakes, it began with silence. Then came the pulse. Sensors across 100 systems flared, hyperspace ruptures unlike anything ever recorded. Fleets emerging from folds in space that shouldn't exist. Ships that didn't match any known Terran registry. Their hulls were black as obsidian, absorbing radar, heat, even light. Each bore the insignia of the Earth Defense Command, a symbol no one had seen in generations, resurrected from the archives of old wars. The Kothar scrambled their armadas, but for every ship they raised, 10 human vessels appeared, massive angular beasts built for one purpose: destruction. When they opened fire, the stars themselves seemed to shatter. Beams of condensed plasma carved through Kothar formations like knives through mist. Their planetary shields, thought impregnable, failed within minutes. The humans said nothing. No demands, no warnings, only a transmission, repeating through every Kothar frequency. New Terra remembers. The War of Retribution. The galaxy watched in horror and awe. The Terran fleets didn't conquer. They erased. Cities turned to molten glass. Armies dissolved in storms of magnetized fire. Human orbital cannons struck with surgical precision, leveling military complexes while leaving civilian zones eerily untouched. When Kothar reinforcements fled, the Terran dreadnought Eidolon followed them through hyperspace corridors and slaughtered them mid-transit, turning the void itself into a grave. On Kothar Prime, the sky burned for a full day. The human landing forces descended in silence, armored soldiers whose visors reflected the inferno. They didn't shout. They didn't gloat. They advanced like executioners, fulfilling an old promise. The Kothar High Council tried to surrender. Their message was received. Logged. Ignored. In orbit, the Terran fleet commander, Admiral Rhea Cortez, gave her only public statement. "You wanted our land. You wanted our soil. Take it. All of it." Moments later, orbital strike pods rained down, embedding deep into the crust of Kothar Prime. Each detonated not with flame, but with force, tectonic shockwaves that fractured the planet's mantle. Oceans rose, cities sank, and mountains cracked open like skulls. The Kothar homeworld was consumed by its own ground, and as the final transmission faded, human forces withdrew, leaving behind nothing but ruin. The galactic reckoning. When the war ended, no one spoke for weeks. The stars around Kothar space glowed faintly red. Dust, ash, and melted debris forming a halo that some began to call the human veil. Trade networks collapsed. Alliances fractured. Species who once mocked humanity now erased every trace of their laughter. Embassies were abandoned. Borders quietly shifted. The Galactic Council sent a delegation to Earth, desperate to understand. The humans received them in silence. A single representative, an old man with eyes like storms, greeted them. "You wanted to see the heart of Earth?" he said. "It still beats, but it beats slowly, patiently." One alien dared to ask the question everyone feared. "Why didn't you stop sooner? Why destroy everything?" The old man's voice carried the weight of 1,000 graves. "You don't bury humans," he said. "You plant us." He turned to leave, his words final and cold. "And when we grow back, we remember, the echo of silence centuries later. They still whisper about it. New Terra stands rebuilt, a monument and a warning. The fields bloom again, the rivers run clear, and beneath every acre lies the bones of both human and Kothar. The soil now shared, silent, eternal." Travelers who pass through its orbit claim they can still hear the hum beneath the ground at night, like a heartbeat echoing through the planet's crust. Some say it's the wind. Others say it's the memory of vengeance. Across the galaxy, the children of 1,000 worlds grow up hearing the same tale. Never provoke Earth. Because humanity, as they learned too late, is not just flesh and blood. Humanity is endurance. We break, we burn, we vanish, and then we return, harder than before. The Kothar claimed our land. They buried us in its soil, but from that soil, the Earth grew teeth, and the stars still remember the taste.